Books can change your life. In fact, the first 4 books that I read on entrepreneurship literally changed my entire life. And so I want to share with you the 7 books that you need to read if you want to get rich fast. The first book is actually the first book that I ever read on entrepreneurship. It's called The Millionaire Fastlane by DeMarco. I remember reading this book in 2016. I was just 16 years old. I was still in high school. And I remember sitting down, starting to read this book, and then finishing it within like 2 days, because it was just so captivating. This book will show you what it takes to become a millionaire, and it'll also show you the different ways that people go about getting there. Now, there are 2 main paths that most people take to get to $1 million. The first path is what he calls the slow lane. So this is the path of working super hard, saving all your money, and investing over a very long period of time. It's typically 40 or 50 years until you eventually get to $1 million. But the truth is, for most people, that's not going to be an option. You're simply too young to start saving and investing for retirement 40 or 50 years from now. That's why the second path is the fast lane, which is starting a business. But the thing about this book is that it doesn't stop there. He goes on to talk about the different ways that you can start a business and how you can find something that works for you. The next book is called The Cashflow Quadrant by Kiyosaki. This is a book that every single person should read at least once in their life because it's just such a game changer. And I think everyone should have this mindset. So this book introduces you to the concept of the Cashflow Quadrant, which divides the economy into 4 quadrants: employees, self-employed, business, and investors. Now, the majority of people in the world are employees. They wake up, they go to work, they get paid, they pay tax, and they save some of their money. And then there's another large group of people who are self-employed. For example, doctors, lawyers, accountants. These people tend to do better than employees, but they are still trading their time for their money. Then we have the business quadrant, which is where the real wealth comes from. People who own businesses tend to make a lot more than both employees and self-employed individuals. And lastly, there's the investor quadrant. Investors tend to make a lot of money, but they don't really do much. They just collect dividends, interest, rental income. And so the goal of this book is to move you from one of these quadrants to another quadrant where you can make significantly more money. And the way that you do that is by acquiring assets. Robert says that the best assets to buy are those that put more money into your pocket when you re-asleep rather than when you're reworking. Next up is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I feel like everyone has heard of this book. However, not many people actually read it. In fact, when I told my friends that I was reading this book, they were kind of laughing at me because they thought it was some sort of a scam. But let me tell you, this book is seriously amazing. It talks about the science of getting rich. He interviews extremely wealthy people from his time and analyzes their lives to figure out what makes them successful. And it's not what you think. Most people believe that you need to be born with a silver spoon, that you need to be smart or good-looking to become rich. But after analyzing hundreds of millionaires, he came up with 6 key principles that anyone can use to become rich. Now, this book was written in 1937, so it might seem a bit outdated. But the principles that Napoleon Hill talks about in the book transcend time. They're always relevant, no matter what. Next up is a letter to my son on losing weight, staying healthy, and making money. I know the title is a bit weird, and it seems like it would be some sort of a health book. But it's actually a book about entrepreneurship and money. When I read this book back in 2018, I was completely blown away. I couldn't believe that someone could write such an impactful book in just 68 pages. This book is filled with some of the greatest pieces of advice that I have ever seen anywhere else. And the reason why it's structured as a letter to his son is because it is extremely personal. You feel like the author is right there talking to you. And this book helped me with 2 things: losing weight and making money. I'm not saying that this book will make you lose weight, but it will give you some great tips on how to stay healthy. And in terms of money, this book will teach you how to pick a great business idea, how to deal with failure, how to manage your finances, and how to live below your means. At only 68 pages, it's a very quick read, and I highly recommend that you check it out. Next up is The 4-Hour Workweek by Timothy Ferriss. We all want to work less and make more. It's human nature. And in this book, Timothy Ferriss shows you exactly how to do that. If you're feeling overwhelmed by the amount of stuff that you have to do each day, if you're burnt out, if you're not enjoying your life, then this book is for you. It'll help you rethink everything that you think about productivity, and it'll show you how you can get more done in less time. In this book, he talks about something called the New Rich, which is a lifestyle design where you can work whenever you want, wherever you want, however much you want. Now, I personally haven't reached the New Rich phase yet, but I am working towards it. And this book has given me the inspiration and the framework to build that lifestyle. Next up is Unshakable by Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is arguably one of the best motivational speakers of all time. In this book, he dives into the psychology of money. In the book, he breaks down how your beliefs influence your financial success. And so if you have limiting beliefs around money, if you think that money is hard to make, if you think that rich people are greedy, then this book will definitely challenge your beliefs. In fact, in Chapter 1, he says that 99% of the financial decisions that you make in your life will be based on your beliefs and your values. And so if you don't like those things, then you won't be able to reach your financial goals. The book also gives you steps on how to change those beliefs so that you can become financially free. And last but not least is The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. This is one of the most underrated books on this list. Most people think that money is about math. All you need to do is earn more and spend less. You're going to become rich. But the truth is, money is about psychology. It's like Unshakable. This book also dives deep into the psychology of money. And so if you want to become really rich, you must understand this stuff. He talks about the importance of patience, how a lot of investing is behavioral. He talks about the role of luck and how important it is to be able to control your emotions. Now, this book is super easy to read. I finished it in one night, and so I highly recommend that you check it out. If you want to level up in life, then I have 3 more videos that I think you'll enjoy.